Enzo, what's going on, man? Welcome to SaaS Sauce. How are you doing today, man? Good to finally meet you.
Good. What is up, Jen? Alex? Been a while, guys.
And so, just to give you a little bit of context on what SaaS Sauce is, we help SaaS founders really discover the secrets that people are using in this industry to grow SaaS businesses. And I've seen that you worked with a couple SaaS businesses with C17. So I'd love for you just to give us a little quick overview of what C17 is and, how are you helping SaaS companies scale their business?
Let's do this.
Let's rock.
So C17 is really kind of a unique company. We're doing what we call revenue engineering. So the way I like to say that, how to frame it is like, and in some we're doing lead generation, but the way I like to frame it is, if you look at any type of services for lead generation nowadays, especially in specifically kind of what we do, there's kind of like two type of companies. The companies that give you the MQL, which is people that raise their hand, hey, I might be interested in what what you guys have to sell. There's a company that just give you all the way up to the SQL, which means they book the meeting, they're making sure people show up. And we want to do both because we understand that we have customers that both have sales team that can just take care of the lead, and some of them they're like, I don't care, I just want to show up and get on a calendar and just sell my product and services. And in a nutshell, what we're trying to do is build a really crazy pipeline for partners, regardless what do they want. Do they want MQL or SQLs? And that's what we do. We're really kind of like specializing more and more in three main type of ICP, because this is where we're seeing the most success that we have, which are professional services, manufacturers, and SaaS selling, especially SaaS selling to traditional companies or legacy type companies. This is really the three main type of ICP we tend to like really kill it for, and this is where I really want to focus for 2026. And in a nutshell, we do cold email, LinkedIn outreach, cold calling, appointment selling, warm calling. So we're really trying to own the entire space, from doing the strategy, finding the leads, building the lead list, doing the outbound reach out, getting the response, calling the leads, making sure the lead is qualified, show up for the call, all the way up for the partners. Just, all you have to do is just close the leads. And the reason why, and I'm just going to go on a little tangent here, is that what I noticed is like, if you look at any lead gen businesses, and I've been doing this thing for like a couple of years now, I churned customers that I was sending 200, 300 leads a month. And that thing was killing me. Like, how can I churn somebody that I'm sending so many leads for? And it was kind of like obvious to me that, that's why I talk about MQL and SQL, is like, there are people that don't understand how hard is outbound. They don't understand how hard it takes to get a cold leads and create so much excitement and incentive in making sure that person that only had 75 words of you that they received like 5 days ago to show up on a call. Like, the amount of work that it takes to keep that lead hot all the way up to show up to the call is so hard. And what I realized was, I was drowning people in leads, but they were not able to convert them into meetings. They were not able to close them. And my idea was like, okay, if I'm going to keep losing customers because they cannot do it, I might as well own that space. So that's why now I'm generating the leads, and I'm keeping that lead odds all the way up to my partner show up on the call and do what I got to do. The good thing here, good and bad thing, is that it forced at least my partners to realize that this either really good at closing outbound leads or they really suck at it. But then the fault is not whether or not they could generate the leads and have the leads show up on meetings, because that's what they were showing. They were getting a lot of leads, but nobody was showing on meetings, so they couldn't close them. But now the idea is like, hey, we did everything. We generate the leads, we make sure the leads show up. If you cannot close them, it's on you. But it's great because then they realize, oh, the way I'm selling outbound is completely different than what I'm doing inbound or any other channel. And yeah, in a nutshell, that's kind of why I know I went on the tangent, but that's kind of why I do what I do, and that's why we do this entire thing, from generating the leads to making sure people show up, because otherwise you're gonna have a lot of churn, and the only way you can keep having customers is making sure they're happy and stay with you forever.
No, that's perfect. And I'd love it if you could dive a little bit more into what that process looks like for, you get someone to have an interested reply to an email, you get them to book a call, and then what's during that 5-day period between that lead generation and that call, what are you doing to make sure that they show up? Because that's honestly that's a problem that Alex and I have experienced in our businesses.
Yes, I'll tell you a bit further. I say 5 days, but the truth is that the best of the best of my client either can meet the lead the same day or the following day. When the longer you go in time, and when this person has to appear in meetings, the harder you're gonna have to have them to show up. So ideally, you want to be able to take meetings, and I was telling everybody, hey, we do performance guarantee, which means people pay us 120 meetings per quarter, and we have to deliver on that. And what we realize is that you can only do that when you have 12 slots of 30 minutes open over the next 48 hours, including the same day. If you can offer, because the biggest leverage in having people showing up to meetings is availability. Yes, your product offer is good, but like, are you available? If you're available in a week from now, this person doesn't even remember who you are. So availability is the number one drivers. And then what you need is a really strong pre-sales flow. Well, what is pre-sales flow? Hey, you book a meeting with C17. Well, the moment you book the meetings, you're gonna have a couple of email testimonials, a couple of emails that share testimonials in link with the industry that you're doing. You're gonna have a dedicated video from me. Say, hey, Alex, super excited to meet you tomorrow. By the way, I start diving into your specific company. This is a couple of ideas I have in mind. Excited to have you. I have an SDR that's gonna call you 24 hours prior. You're gonna have an SMS. You have all those things that remind you, oh yeah, I have this call and I responded to the email because this email was so good. And every interaction that you're getting in between, from the moment you say you want to get on a call to the moment you show up, remind you, oh, this is why I should be there. Oh yes, this is exactly why it's important for me to be there. And you want to be sure that you remind those people why it's so important for them to be there. And there is a lot of value for them in showing up on that call. And yeah, so a mix of pre-sales flow, availability. In a nutshell, be able to provide so much value that people just want to get on a call. And still coming back to the initial email, initial outreach, what did you say in that specific message that was like for this person, this is crazy, I want to get on a call. I forgot to mention as well, when somebody responds, instead of responding again by email, we call them. Because the phone is the highest, best, at least channel to book a meeting than any other channel out there. Like when somebody, hey, I'm just, I want to learn more. Why would you respond to email? You can just call them, because here's the truth. People get distracted. Their wife died, the dog died, wife has got an emergency, whatever happened in their day, they sent you, yes, they don't even remember who you are once they send that email. They move on to the next thing. But if you cut them during their day and you get their attention, hey, you just responded, you were interested for that. When are you available next so we can get on a call? That is highest leverage for anything else that you can do. And that's why I believe the phone is so important in at least in operation we run.
Right. So are you using a phone number that you've pulled like within that lead list already, or are you asking them for the phone number in the in an email, in a reply email?
Most of it, no, we already have it, because if you respond, we know who you are and we can get your phone number. Got you.
Okay. And what just out of curiosity, like what's the tech stack that you guys are using for this? So kind of the tech stack for pulling their phone number after they replied, and then also just kind of keeping everything organized within your organization. I know you're doing all these different types of flows. Is it all within one platform? Is that spread across a few different places?
Yeah, I'm not going to say the platform because I'm not sponsored. They're not paying me to do any advertising. But I can tell you about the
you tell me just generally what type of platform you're using. Yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of have a workflow platform, like where you gather everything and where you just keep everything centralized. For the phone number that we like to use Better Contacts. Those guys are really good. And what they do is that they waterfall the phone number data, which means that most of the time, if you're thinking of an email waterfall, you're getting a provider here, provider here, and trying to get who's going to give me the best phone number. Better Contact do it already for you guys. So it's kind of really good because you kind of like save steps. Now, what is interesting also is like phone number data is just 50 times more expensive than email data. So it's really important, and when you're doing that kind of motion, you understand that first. You need to be setting high tickets products because it's really, really expensive. And you need also to be compliant wherever you are, wherever you're calling. You need to understand time zone. Like it gets a little risky because some people respond to you, hey, 7 a.m. Yeah, I'm interested. Let's get on. I'm interested, but if she's 7 a.m. in their time, that's probably at home. Maybe we should call them maybe an hour after. So it's all of those little things that you need to think about, taking into consideration when you do that kind of motion. But yeah, to answer your question, Better Contacts for phone numbers. Smartly, these are email sequencers. And yeah, we kind of gather our flows under main workflow platforms. There's multiple out there. We like to do a lot of things in house to be less dependent from main workflow providers out there. But yeah.
So and just to get a little bit more, go deeper on your kind of call system. Are people generally answering? So I don't really have any experience with kind of cold calling or any of this. Are people generally answering these calls, or are you leaving a message and they're replying to you? How does that work generally?
Really depends. I cannot give you an answer that is true because it's really
Yeah.
it really changed a lot across industry. I'll give you an example. The reason why I told you, hey, we really like to focus on manufacturer professional services and B2B SaaS targeting legacy type company and traditional type of companies is because those people tend to respond on the phone a lot. Try
Right,
to
like
get a
the-
VP of a B2B SaaS, you respond to your phone call, good luck to that. You know?
Yes.
That's also one of the strategy of why we're doing what we're doing, because we want also to be able to work in industry that we know we're gonna have high ticket product, but also high response rate. You know, if you're a manufacturer, if you're professional services, let's say you're a manufacturer selling air filters to HVAC companies, an HVAC business owner always has his phone ready to pick up. But you know, it does, you know. So I know when I'm gonna call those guys, they're gonna pick up because those guys always pick up their phone numbers because you know down the field something might be important. They always pick up their phone. So also why we kind of like trying to focus on certain industry where we know we're gonna have high pickets rates. We know that the phone number is gonna be easily accessible, and you know, there's a lot of value to be created in that segment.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I was going to ask you at the beginning, like, why you're focusing on these kind of more legacy businesses, but that completely explains it. Like, because personally,
multiple things. So if you think about it, and it was kind of I took a slap in the face when I was like kind of like digged into this. I'll give you a quick question, guys. I don't know if I talked to you about it, Alex, or last time we talked, but what do you think is the split between professional services and software businesses in the US in terms of what is the split of like wealth creation between both type of companies?
Way more services. Way more.
yeah, my guess would be something like 80% are these legacy businesses, and maybe closer to 20% are software.
I'll tell you, like, it's 80% of the GDP is based on professional services. Like,
Wow,
it's wild. So, you know, like, everybody's going after and really trying to work with all the fancy SaaS in the world. But 80% of the wealth is created in professional services. So, and, you know, I'm like, why people just like, of course, it's a great logo, it's all that kind of like things, to sell LinkedIn, whatever, but like, if you look at the business, yes, there's great companies, there's a lot of money to be made, but all the money is not there. And the good thing also as well is like professional services manufacturers, those guys are less exposed to the type of like plays we do in terms of like AI and you know personalization and offers. Like they're not seeing the type of things that as much B2B SaaS people are exposed to, which is great because they just we're able to blow their mind, you know. Like when I can send to 100,000 contacts an email on Monday with a great offer. On Tuesday, I'm visiting their LinkedIn profile. On Wednesday, they're getting another email. On Thursday, they're getting a message on LinkedIn. On Friday, somebody's calling. It gives them the impression that those guys are trying to talk to me specifically, me. Like how we can architect that, create a flow where this person has this feeling that we're trying to get in contact with them specifically, like, and that impression, it's hard to believe that it is automated, because how all this thing will be put together so well. That's the kind of motion that we're trying to create. And I think B2B SaaS people are already exposed and understand that. Other industries not as well.
Right. So I think we jumped ahead a little bit to the after the person has already booked a call or showed interest. And you were touching a little bit there on kind of like what your cold strategy is. So I'd love you to dive a little bit deeper into that and how you're thinking about that strategy and kind of what's currently working for you, especially for these SaaS companies that you have as clients.
The biggest thing with SaaS companies doing outbound is like, and what I'm going to tell all of them is like, and I have this argument with everybody all the time. There's only two ways you can make it work. There's only two ways. If you don't have a high LTV or high AOV in terms of SaaS, you can find the partners, and there's a couple of them that we will do it. And let's say, it comes down to the kind of sales cycle you're having. If you're having signups, good luck, but you're gonna need to sign 4 or 5 million emails a month to get any type of meaningful impact on your social line. And you're gonna have to consider cold email, cold outbound as almost like ads platforms, where you're paying an amount to get a certain amount of signups out. If this is the way you want to do it, the only way you can make it work is by having a partner that's willing to send 1 million emails a week, because that's what's going to require to see the changes in terms of signups on your platform. That is doable. There's a couple of guys that do it, but it's going to run you extremely amount of money. Like it's going to be extremely expensive. So you need to make sure that you have a really strong conversion, you have long LTV, otherwise it's not going to make sense. The other option is book demo if you have a SaaS, but that will require you to have a slightly higher AOV LTV. Like you need to be in the 500, almost 1,000 a month type of SaaS product, and you need to have a really, really long LTV to justify the cost of using any outbound company, because we're going to book you per meeting booked and attended. You need to make sure that you're going to be able to convert those guys, that you have a long, strong customer journey, and people will stick with your products. So I think to me that is the two main way you can do SaaS with cold outbound. There is no other way, because the cost doesn't work out. Like the cost of using your services when you other people's services, especially in outbound, people not knowing your product, it's just too expensive. You need to have a high AOV, or you need to be pure volume-based signups where we're doing so much volume where people cannot just sign up by themselves. There's only two ways I believe it works. Now, and why I'm specializing with SaaS companies, targeting traditional type companies and legacy companies, because first, I know how to get the attention of those people, and most of their problem is really, really, really more significant than you trying to sell, a product to another B2B SaaS companies. Like you're gonna be competing with everybody under the sun with their attention. It's gonna be way harder. And the good thing is that, I don't know, in my opinion, professional, like legacy and traditional type companies, you can really wow them a lot. You can really solve big problems for them if you're doing well. And as I said, they mostly ignore and not exposed to the quality of outbound most people are able to do nowadays. So if you have a really strong offer, I think you can win. And that's kind of like how I think about this. But also if you have like a product or service selling to those people for $10,000, $15,000, it's gonna work pretty well as well. I hope I answered your question. I don't know if I went a little bit out here, but if you have more questions, happy to dig a little bit more on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can use, let's kind of use an example. Like, let's say we have a B2B SaaS company that's selling to one of these legacy companies with some sort of high ticket product. I guess if you could just kind of break down what the full strategy that you're using for these type of companies is, and what that looks like from offer creation to sequencing across LinkedIn, calling. What does that flow setup look like?
This episode is brought to you by Flywheel. So we grew our first SaaS company, Drippy.ai, to over $1 million in revenue relatively quickly, but we had one big problem. It was insanely high monthly churn. Users were leaving left and right, and we had no idea they were unhappy until it was too late. And so that's why we built Flywheel. Flywheel predicts who's gonna churn before obvious signs, and then it reaches out automatically via Slack, SMS, email, or wherever your users might be. And so if you're a B2B SaaS founder that's struggling with churn, make sure to check out flywheel.cx. For a limited time, we're running free 60-day pilots, so if you're interested, make sure to book your demo by going to flywheel.cx. Let's get back into the episode.
It is not something that is, it's not a playbook. It's really, really custom to what you're selling. So I would not be able to give you an answer. Is really, really, really custom. I'll give you an example. I have a client, they sell training platforms to their SaaS. They sell training platform to traditional legacy type companies. And what I mean training platform is how to make sure that your employee in hospitality, in restaurants, in those kind of industries are trained really fast and do have an actual platform where they can train their team member, because most of those companies either pay an LMS really expensively to run their training program, or they do not have a training program. And the reason why you want to be, those guys are really great, because let's say you're a restaurant in a really hot city or area, seasonality is a big factor for you. So you're going to be able to onboard a lot of people really fast during high season. And you need to make sure that the quality of your output, let's say you're doing burgers, is the same all across. And you have to bring sure those person that come in, they're able to do the quality of burgers really well, really fast. Those guys, what they do, and they're focalizing on building the entire training program, and they're selling as a SaaS for those companies. So, for example, you just want to join McDonald's, they're going to do a training program for burgers for McDonald's, and they're selling that as a SaaS, and pretty much doing it all across the organization for every possible departments. So, what are we doing in this case? In this case, what we're doing is that we identify companies that tend to have a lot of fluctuation in terms of number of people that bring in and they bring out. And the way we do this is like we analyze companies' job posting and frequency and the keywords about some things being seasonal and how many of them they need it. And we trying to also analyze what is the churn rate and in reviews we're going to do for our organization. And the way you want to do this in this case is like we see that this company tend to 20% more, let's say, kitchen cook during the summer. But at the same time, when you're looking at Glassdoors and employee review, they have drastically negative review around training, around retention, around people not being happy, about churn rates. So how knowing that about these specific companies and then needing to hire more people and train them really well, how do you make sure you're able to analyze and you're being able to solve that problem for that person? That is one thing that we're doing as well. On top of that, you want to be able to look, okay, now that I have those information, I'm going to look on the company level. Do they have trainers? Do they have people with background in training and corporate training and any of that? If you look, and then what we notice is that, hey, if we notice that there is nobody in time of training and that the HR departments represent less than 2% of the entire headcount, they probably don't have enough people to even train to build training program. So this is also pattern that we put together to make an hypothesis and then send an outbound message that we think is really relevant. It's just an example, but I hope it makes sense. That's why I couldn't tell you like there's only one way of doing it. It has to be really specific because this is really, really custom.
And that makes a ton of sense. It sounds like it's just like a ton of research that's going in at the top level to generate a super specific strategy that's going to bring in these different brands. So that I understand why you can't give a specific playbook.
And the good thing is like what I described to you, we do it across an entire time. We couldn't do it across the entire United States. So the good thing is that specific patterns, we can identify 50,000 companies that respect that pattern that we know are really hot companies to reach out to based on what I just described to you.
Right. Okay. Got you. That makes a ton of sense. Alex, I feel like I keep jumping in before you have a chance. Do you have any questions?
Dude, no, you're good. I have a question on that. So, like, for example, let's say you're reaching out to one of these, or you have one of these SaaS companies. We'll go with the same example. If their TAM or like the people that the contacts that fit the criteria is only 50,000, like, how do you go about that? Like, would you take on that client? Would you spread that out across months?
50,000 is okay. What I'm telling you, if your time is 10,000 contacts, don't hire me. Don't hire anyone, realistically.
Right.
If your time is that small, don't. Just do it in-house. Build a true ABM system in-house. Because if that only 10,000 companies, the truth will be your product is probably really expensive as well. Because otherwise you wouldn't have a business. So the size of your time, I don't say it's like directly related to this, the cost of your product or services, but I would say there's some kind of like relation, at least I believe. So if your time is like 5,000, 10,000 contacts, you should definitely not use me or anybody else. You should build these skills in-house and build a true ABM motion, map out the entire time, and make sure that you have like an entire calendar of how you're going to reach out to all those prospects and do a really highly custom outreach. I don't say that you're not going to be able to do a custom outreach doing what we do, but like it's not going to be, yes, we can say crazy things, but in my opinion, is like when your time is too small, you don't have no room for errors. Each contact is really valuable. You should not use anybody else. You should own everything in-house.
And whenever you're building these campaigns, and again, I know it's very like specific case by case basis, but are you and you kind of mentioned this, but do you go more for the offer or do you go more for like a lead magnet that would get them to reply and then pick up the phone and call them? Because I saw on a couple other interviews that you did where you talked about like lead magnet, and given these are like 2 years old, so obviously things change. But what's your thought process there? Is it like, okay, let's hit these guys with like such an amazing offer, or more so, hey, let me give them some sort of lead magnet that's going to make them be curious and reply?
The offer is lead magnet is an offer.
Right.
The offer is lead magnet is the same thing. It's just like what are you pretty much the answer I'm trying to, and this is kind of how I'm thinking about Outbound. It's probably one thing that people should remember about this conversation is probably that how people attention is just so short and small that whatever you're saying when you're reaching out to this person and they're opening your email, you want to be able to provide so much value that they cannot ignore you. That's really everything I'm living by is like, what can we say that none of your competitors, that nobody else in the market can say and offer to you? Because at the end of the day, if you're able to do that, they're going to be like, hold on, this is crazy. I've never heard of that before. I've never seen that. I'm just curious. I want to learn more. That is what makes Outbound win. Making offers that nobody else can do. If you're selling what everybody else is selling, what is the point of even selling in the first place? Yeah. You have to be able to design offers that nobody can ignore, and that is so good that people will just want to spend time hearing more about this. So, in a nutshell, yeah. Because the reason I'm saying that is, if you look at cold outbound if you look at any acquisition channel as a spectrum, cold outbound is on the furthest end of the conversion rate. Like there's nothing harder than cold outbound. And the closest one, the warmest is probably brand people that consume your content and decide to book a call because they trust you and book and see what you're doing and find it really interesting. And knowing that you get somebody's attention through 75 words, they probably don't know who you are. Whatever you're gonna say has to be insanely good. And why it's so important? Because that needs to follow through it and get on the sales calls. You need to hook them up. Hey, we talked about this. I was curious. Let me qualify. Oh, it doesn't make sense. Cool. Let me make sure that I design or I build that thing custom for you on another call. And you need to create really a customer journey that is really, really strong, because don't forget, they don't know who you are. They then expose to your content, and that's why you need to do a pretty strong pre-sales so because they get familiar with you then. But then you need to deliver on that, and that's what makes you really, really strong. Lead magnet and offers, like an offer could be a lead magnet could be an offer. The way I like to think about it, don't ask for meetings, don't ask for anything, just provide so much value where people cannot ignore you. Like we talked about it, Alex, about when we were diving into you guys' products. If you tell me, hey Enzo, by the way, I see you targeting those guys. I have the entire database of all your professional services, X Twitter account. Can I give you access to it? Or is it something that will be relevant to you? How am I going to say no to this? You didn't ask for meetings. You didn't ask, you're going to 20x your money if you work. No, I say, hey, I got this thing. Is it relevant to you? Because I think it could be really valuable. Because I see you targeting those guys, so I figure it might be worth you having access to it. Right? Cool. Yeah, sure. Jump on a call. I'll walk you through what we have and let me see if it makes sense. Like, that is just what it is. There's nothing valuable. Create so much value where people cannot know what you have to offer.
No, that also makes a ton of sense. How do you think about like going back to the training company example, where the product, I imagine, is probably fairly commoditized. Like there's probably a lot of other software providing a lot of other software providers who are providing training software. Is it something you're working with the companies to add something to their product that is this offer that is irresistible, or how do you think about that within these products that are?
It's so funny because I tell that everybody all the time. It doesn't really matter what you sell; it's how you're framing it. I work with a note taker. Like, think about it, the note taker. This is like the most common thing out there. Like, who want to get another note taker? Absolutely nobody. And when I'm doing Outbound, at no point I'm saying I'm a note taker. I'm saying, hey, I'm just gonna come back to the question and I'm gonna note taker. But like, you want to frame what you're doing as really something. You know what I mentioned? I didn't say. Let's go back to the Alex example. I didn't say I'm a database. I didn't say I'm a Twitter sequencer. I said I have the entire Twitter database. Like, you don't even know like what I'm studying. Is this a database? Is it like we didn't talk about this. We talk about the outcome, the offer. How I'm selling it at this point of the conversation, it's irrelevant. I'm trying to get like, is this something would be like, who cares? Like, that is a database, a live scraper, that is a sequencer, that is Excel sheet with all those guys. At this point, who cares? It doesn't really matter. And I think, in my opinion, the end user at this point don't really care what it is. Yeah. They care about the offer. So, yes, to go back on it is like, my opinion is like, you have to frame what people want, what it is. At this stage, I don't think it really matters. I think we should just get people attention. But yeah, my biggest challenge is like telling them, don't tell them what you are, because nobody cares at the end of the day what you are, who you are. They care about the problem you're solving, how you can solve it better than anybody else. And what I was mentioning about my friend that is a note taker guy, I don't tell them I'm a taker. I'm telling those guys, and the copy go around. It's multiple people because we are targeting multiple ICP, but let's say we target. I think one of them was targeting ops people in a really large organization, and like, hey, I see that we're telling them, hey, I see that you added I don't know, 25% more people in each different departments in the organization. How are you making sure you're getting cross-departmental contextual intelligence about all the department and what's happening in there? So you have 360 visibility of what's happening across your entire organization all the time. And we were like, oh, wow, I don't know how to know what's happening across all the departments in the organization. And the reason I ask is because, we're actually doing this for Cloudflare and like maybe from its Fortune 500 companies. Can I show you what kind of data those guys are getting? I didn't say I'm the note taker. I don't say I'm telling you, hey, do you have visibility of what's happening across all your departments all the time? And yeah, okay, nobody does that. The reason I ask is that your competitors or everybody else that is bigger than you actually have this ability. And I didn't say I'm a note taker. I'm saying I have this tool that allow you to see what's going on across all your organization all the time and how the decisions are being taken are able to be taken without you being there. Like, and that level of data is really interesting for ops people. But at no point I say this is a note taker.
Yeah.
And I think this is
Yeah.
the biggest thing is like you don't want to use the words because then if I say note taker, I'm becoming Gong, Fathom, I'm becoming all those guys. And you lose people interest right off the bat because nobody wants another note taker.
Yeah, that makes
I hope
sense.
it makes
I
sense.
think that's something that people like myself who are more technical tend to be really bad at. To be honest, it's just like I spend so much time in the product thinking about all these features that we have and why it's better from a feature perspective, and we kind of lose sight of, what is the core problem that we're solving and how do we frame that in a way to the customer that separates us from
Everybody else.
from the competition, and just puts us on a
100%.
different.
That's
It's not even separate. It's just you're becoming a completely different space in the mind of the customer than your competition. So that's super interesting.
And you think about it, in that understanding of who you are, what you do, and how you're framing it, on an Outbound perspective, you need to deliver that and be that through all across. Let me give you an example. C17, I'm where I say I am. I'm like, hey, my Outbound for myself. I'll give you what my Outbound is for myself. It's crazy. But you cannot compare me to, at least I believe, to anybody else in the market when you're getting my Outbound message or you talk to me when you book a call from any Outbound sequences we're having when you're for rebrand. I'm telling people, hey, first name, I see you're targeting those guys and you're setting to this specific services. I'm making sure you're only booking calls with the one that blah, blah, blah. I asked because we were in the Outbound program for this and then your competitor, which is the number one whatever, and they cannot keep up with all the SQL we're booking on the calendar. Can we book 2-3 SQLs and then we put the name of the AE on Alex calendar, 100 else, and see if there's any fit? Who's gonna say no to that? I'm telling you, hey, one of your competitors cannot keep up with what we're booking on the calendar. I have way too many SQL I cannot know what to do with. Can I book a couple of you on the calendar so you see if it makes sense? And because I know with your ICP, I just told you, and I know what kind of product you're selling, how are you gonna say no to that? It's really hard for you to know. And the thing, I'm not another lady agency tell you, hey, do you want to X amount of things and get X new clients and whatever and all those meetings? No, I'm saying, hey,
Yeah, so many.
I'm not even telling you I'm good. I'm saying, let me book on your calendar. Does that solve the question? But why it's so powerful? Because when I'm doing that, people jump on the go with me. Hey, yeah, I'm very interested. Cool. Where's your ICP? Okay, blah, blah. This is what we do. This is cost per meeting, by the way. This is our model. If we were booking 3-4 meetings on the calendar and they were exactly ICP fit, would it be interesting working with us? Yes or no? Yes. Cool. Is there an agreement? Yeah. So we book 4 on your calendar. They're all ICP fit. We work together. Cool. And the question doesn't become whether or not are we good. We're proving to them that we're good before they even engage with us. So
Right.
It removed the conversation about can we deliver on a service we promise we can deliver, because we're proving it in a sales process by booking couple on calendar so they can see the quality of our leads and of our service.
Yeah, and even just bringing in that angle of we're already doing it for the competitor. It's
Yeah, we're already doing it. And
Stacks on
most
top.
of the time we're quoting the name, you know who those guys are because they're your competitor. And you know they're either bigger than you or similar to you. So we're removing whether or not can we deliver on our plan. This is we just proved it during the sales process, book on your calendar. And then the question becomes, how many of them do you want? How many of them do you need?
Yep.
And the conversation shifts whether are we good at what we do. I think that's kind of the biggest thing is always think the sales cycle is always, am I going to be able, if I trust this company and they say they can do How do I know I'm gonna get what this company can claim they can give me? How do I know? That's why we have testimonials. That's why we do all those things. But like, I just want to cut the chase. Like, hey, this is what you want. Let me give you from some of you for free. But why am I doing that? Because I'm charging way more than everybody else also in the market. And because I'm charging way more than everybody else, I can afford to give those couple of them for free. Because I know that, yes, there's those guys that charge, I don't know, whatever amount they charge, which is less than me, but you have no guarantee of getting some result. Me, I charge way more, but you know what you're going to get. You're paying for it, you have guarantee that you're going to get it. So it's whether or not do you have the money or how many of them you want. If you don't have the money, well, I'm not the guy for you. If you have the money and you can handle a lot of SQL, well.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. It's incredibly helpful. Alex, I know you had a question we have a question here about Hormozi, and you're definitely the bigger Hormozi fan between the two of us, so I'll let you ask that one.
No, so we just want to dive in because obviously we talked about the fact that you won, or I'm pretty sure, right, that you won the Hormozi, essentially for context here, just had his $100 million money models book launch, and there was a competition to see who could get the most signups for him, right? And Enzo right here, you won, if I'm not mistaken. So I guess, can you walk us through that? I know you ran like millions and millions of cold emails for this, and you ended up making it to the top one. So if you could kind of break down the strategy there, and then what it looked like to actually go and be live with Hormozi and interview him, and how that all was.
Well, it's important to notice, to actually mention, I won it twice.
Damn.
So I won $400 million leads in 2023. I won $100 million leads in 2023, and then this year, $100 million money models. But the biggest thing, and I'm gonna give you the privilege, the opportunity to hear that out before anybody else. And you're gonna see in the video that I record with him. I jump on I go on stage with it, and the guy is like, Alex is like, by the way, Enzo is the guy that borrows the most money ever across all the affiliates. And I was like, oh, no pressure on getting an interview now. So that's crazy. And keep in mind, this is the book most sold in the entire history. Like they sold $106 million worth of book in 3 days. Yes. So they didn't want to tell me how much was my contribution to, but I was like, well, can I get a piece of it at least? But yeah. They didn't want to tell me how much was it, but like, I don't know. It's important. It's interesting because one of the questions that I started to ask Alex was about what I did this specific year. So in 2023, I sent 900,000 emails to get around 7,000 signups for him, for $100 million leads. This year, I sent 1.8 million and $35,000 because I had 12 y'all working full time to call the leads and do everything we're doing.
Oh wow!
And I did 5,000 leads signups, and most of them, from what I understood, we actually purchased a lot of their bundles, 6,000 whatever dollars, things that were running. And this is interesting because like it's crazy because Outbound is getting harder than ever before. I had to start twice volume plus SDR. And I didn't even, my goal when I launched, I decided to go through this year again. I was like, I wanted to get 10,000 signups. And I was like, I got 5,000. And I'm like, this is crazy. I was like, I worked like there was no tomorrow for that specific things. So yeah, it was really interesting. It was really cool. It was not my first time meeting him. I met him for sure for $100 million leads on the video. And then they flew me in their quarter a few months after. So I had the opportunity to meet him prior, and his team was really cool. I met him with him again this time. The good thing about this time is I had private dinner with him and his wife. So that was insane. That was really insane. So I was actually talking with Leila the entire time because she's an ops beast, like insane. So
yeah, they're both unreal.
Yeah, this is it. And you know what's funny? I'll tell you what is the biggest thing that was about, like, it was surprising to me. Most of the time during this dinner, there's no camera or there's anything. It was just all of us having dinner and thing. what you're seeing about them on socials and in real life, there's no difference. They're the exact same people. Like the same exact same people. I'm talking to like what's going on. I'm trying to buy a $20 million house, but in Las Vegas, it's really hard. There's nothing good there. I'm trying to recover. I'm like, and the way she talks, and we talk about business, like she's the exact same people you see on socials in here. It's just like really, really cool. Really, really impressed by that. So yeah, there's other people as well that were that. So the challenge was the top 10 top affiliate worldwide, and so there was the other, I think 6 or 7 were able to come during this time. So we were all over together. We had the opportunity to interview him in multiple angles and multiple ways. So it was really cool. Yeah, exciting, good opportunity. I cannot complain. And yes,
Yeah.
I'm launching in beginning of January. Kind of like the interview, what it is, and a 2 hours class on a code Outbound for free on YouTube, pretty much.
Oh, so you had a 2-hour interview with him?
No. I had 20 minutes, but after this video, I'm just doing a 2-hour course on YouTube. It's gonna be bound to a single video because everything that he said is really fundamental to Call Outbound, and I decided I'm gonna record a really large video around it, so I can explain people what I think about it, how I think people should. Pretty much a lot of questions that you asked me today. I'm gonna go a little bit more further and explain a little bit more in details about what does it look like, what we do, how we're doing it. Yeah.
Well, do you have any more secret sauce that you want to share with us? That's going to be a little preview for your 2-hour special.
Do you guys watch UFC?
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Bruce Buffer is doing the intro of that video.
Oh wow.
What? Wait, how'd you get him?
Well, you asked too many questions, huh?
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
What do you mean? How do you get him?
Super
He's the
cool.
king of cold
That
outreach.
is
He's ever
super
won
cool.
Alex.
Don't ask question now.
Of course he can get up.
Don't ask question now. You're gonna
No, that's what we do here, though, Enzo. That's what we do here. We try to get you to reveal a little bit more than you want to reveal. But
Oh, good.
You don't
Fair
tell us you
game.
got proof.
I would have done the same if
That's
I were
great.
you, a shoes guy. I would have done the same.
So stay tuned for January's freaking movie. That's insane.
Yeah,
That's
I want
super
to start the year on a banger. So hopefully it's gonna be good. I have to keep recording. It's really I drastically underestimate the amount of time it takes to record a 2 hours. It's been like 6 hours of recording right now. It's just like, it's insane.
Well, I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up. Is there anything else you want to share with our listeners as we head out? Where can they find you? Plug anything you got.
Yeah. You guys can get me on c17.ai. It's a website. Find me on LinkedIn, Enzo Carasso, or LinkedIn/Code Outreach. I was able to get that name. It was good. So yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. Send me a message. I'm really cool. An email. I'm really cool to meet. Whatever you guys need. Happy to always chat. And yeah, that's it, guys.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Enzo. It's
Beautiful.
great to meet you, and
My
I
pleasure,
really
guys.
appreciate your time here.
All good, guys. Pleasure.
Appreciate you, man.